Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we bring you the game. I'm gonna butcher this. In the Richelieu. I apologize to all the French folks out there. I know y'all get mad at me, or at least I know at least one person gets mad at me every time I try to pronounce this ship, but that's the best I got. Anyway, don't forget, before we get started, we are on the path to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That is our goal. If you want to be a part of that journey, hit that subscribe button. Almost half of you that watch my channel aren't subscribed, so make sure you guys punch that subscribe button. Help us out. Now, with all of that out of the way, we've got a doozy of a game for you guys in the... See, the problem with me trying to pronounce this, like you guys pronounce it, is I have to like actually think about it, rather than just saying the Richelieu, which is the way I say it. It's the Richelieu, or as close as I can get it. I know you're supposed to roll the R and all that. Sorry. Anyway, it just doesn't come off my tongue the right way. But we're going to push up towards the Alpha Cap. We're going to look for crossfires. We have another Richelieu in the middle of the map. And initially, he's broadside. I take the shot. Of course, I get spotted by the carrier. And that means that this guy's going to just bow tank us. So our first shot is going to be absolutely useless. But don't worry, we have a tier 6 battleship begging for it over there. Our first shot, 1,300 hull damage. What on earth will we do in this one? Now, I have built this specifically to try to get as much accuracy as possible out of this. The only downside, or the only difference is I actually switched over to Megalomania because I was just like, screw it. I want to reload these guns a little bit faster because I'm not getting any accuracy out of them anyway. I've got Iachino on there. I've got the... Andrew Cunningham on there, trying to get as much grouping as I can out of this thing, and it's just not having it most of the time. This ship is just not consistent. It never has been, never will be. The reason that the Jean Bart is so much better is because it has those reload boosters. Otherwise, they're very similar. They're both pretty inconsistent on the guns. It's just that the Richelieu, doesn't reload as fast as the Jean Bart, so you get less shots per game, so you notice those shots a little bit more when they go all wonky. Now here, we get a beautiful shot at the North Carolina before he gets behind the island, and this is going to punch him right in the mouth, which is huge. That's a huge salvo, getting up to 25,000 damage now. Now, the enemy carrier is going to find out pretty quickly that the last thing that you want... There are certain ships that you need to try to avoid in a carrier early in the game. Now, if you come at me later in the game after I've been beat up a little bit and some of my AA has been damaged, great. But early in the game, you want to avoid French battleships and American battleships at all costs at high tiers, because you're just going to lose planes. Like, here you can see we are just shredding his planes. He tried to drop fighters. We shredded them immediately. He's now making his attack. He's going to get a double fire here, but he's going to lose even more of his planes in the process. This guy is just not going to have a good time if you're trying to attack me. Now, I don't know what the guy behind me has done. Like, one moment he's back there following me around the corner, and the next he is just non-existent. I don't know what happens to him. I really don't. Like, I don't know if he just got caught broadside. I don't know if he took torpedoes. There's nothing close enough to hit him with torpedoes, except maybe the carrier, but like... For real, I don't know how this happened. Now, I've got a lot of targets here, but I'm holding my fire because I know there's a Jean Bart right here, right? Like, I am waiting for the Jean Bart to get spotted. It's just a matter of time. And as soon as I start to look away, you can see, here we go. Now, I want to aim a little lower than the water line here because he does have a little bit of a submerged citadel, but right under the gun turret, boom, there you go. 3 full pins, 1 over pin, and a citadel. Not the most accurate salvo in the world, but... when you're shooting at these French battleships at close ranges, you got to aim just a little bit under the waterline. My buddy Big B actually showed this very well recently. You guys know him. I've shown him on the channel. He was the one in the smoked video for the Schlieffen. You guys remember him. Very great player. Really good at explaining exactly what he's doing while doing it. He's just a really high-level player. But we get another shot here at the Schumpfen. And we managed to punch him in the mouth as well, which surprised the crap out of me because I figured I'd overpin him. But you can see Carrier's actually going to get a flood here. Of course he does, right? Of course he does. Hits me right on the nose, gets the flood, and we don't get our turrets back for another, or we don't get our damage con back for another 8 seconds. So he's going to get a nice little chunk of flooding here. The Z gets spotted here. I want to take the shot, but I can't shoot around the island yet. Remember, these are high-velocity guns. They're very flat trajectories up close, so you got to make sure that you get around the island, and of course, as soon as I get around the island, he goes dark. So we go for the Richelieu here, and you can see he's actually angled away from us, so I aim this a little too low. Most of these shells are going to miss. We get one hit and one ricochet. As soon as I fire my guns, of course, the Z gets spotted again, and we can't shoot him. So we've got to wait. Richelieu is backing up, and I know this is where I start getting upset, or you guys start getting upset. You're like, Spartan, you said it okay at the beginning, and now you're just throwing right back into the terrible sounds. I understand, I'm sorry. But here we get a beautiful salvo. 7 shells hitting where we need them. Of course, we overpin. It's to be expected. You got an all-or-nothing armor scheme. That's what the Americans and the French used late in the war. All-or-nothing armor scheme. Basically, you armor the parts that are most important, and everything else gets as minimal armor as possible so that shells aren't as likely to arm inside the ship, which is why you get overpins, right? That's the whole point of an all-or-nothing armor scheme. It is a more advanced method of armoring your ship. It allows you to have smaller displacement, but still have, like, just overall bigger ships. Like you don't have to have as much displacement, and yet you still can have, you know, bigger guns and stuff like that because you're not armoring the ship as much as you would normally. Whereas the Germans were the opposite. The Germans went with the turtleback armor scheme, which was just more armor everywhere, right? You want to get an extra layer of protection over top of your most armored part of your ship anyway, right? So it was more of a, you know, older methodology. Not necessarily wrong, just an older methodology. Depends on what you're planning to fight. Like American battleships, French battleships, their goals were to fight at longer ranges, whereas the Germans were going to fight in the North Atlantic. It tends to be pretty bad visibility, pretty rough seas, so you tend to be a lot closer in your fights. So it makes sense to have more armor if you're going to be closer, because you're more likely to get hit. Make sense? Anyway, with all of that being said, we've had a solid game. We've got us a clear sky. We've got 3 citadels, 26 planes shot down. We've shot down so many planes that the planes, or the carrier's just like, screw this, I'm going elsewhere. So, you love to see that, right? Well, here you've got this chumfoot over here just begging for it. We're going to go ahead, aim the shot as best we can. We're going to look over our left side. We want to make sure we don't get caught. And of course, we get 1 shell to hit the target. Just completely bracketing that chumfoot, as you do. Like, when somebody doesn't make any changes to their course and your shells splash everywhere except their ship, that's just the game saying, you know what, you've had an okay game, but we got to give this guy a little bit of RNG. But here you can see he starts to turn away, and we, like, finally get some shells on target, and we get the kill, right? That's how close he was to dying. Like, those things don't have health. That's one of the biggest problems that I have with those ships. It isn't that their guns aren't that good. They set fires. They do their job. They got torpedoes everywhere. It's kind of a fun little ship to play, but the problem is they just don't have any hit points. So even overpins are brutal, and God help you if you get caught broadside. Like, you just dev struck all day long. 2 citadels, you out of there. Like, you don't get a chance to pass go. You don't get a chance to collect $200. You know what I'm saying? But here you can see we're trying to pay attention to where the destroyer may be. So we're spotted by the plane. We're not spotted by the destroyer. And then right about... Okay, maybe it already happened. I didn't see it. But anyway, he went around the corner to our left. How do we know this? Well, he's not able to spot us. We're spotted by the planes right now. And we're about to be sonared, which means he's within we'll just call it 5.2 kilometers. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's either 4.7 or 5.2 kilometer sonar on these German destroyers. I just can't remember which it is. I know they have a slightly enhanced sonar, so I want to say it's 5.2. But yeah, he gets around the corner. It's actually 4.7. Okay, that explains it. Either that or his sonar just ran out. But he starts to turn away. We've already got HE loaded this time, and I don't normally load HE against destroyers because most of the time it just doesn't pay. Like, here you see 4 penetrations, we do 5k damage, and like, we would be doing just as much, if not more damage with AP overpins in that salvo than we get with the HE. The problem with the HE from a battleship on destroyers is that you're going to be breaking modules. A lot of the damage is just going to get absorbed by AA and guns and torp tubes. You're just not going to get the big hits. Whereas if you load AP, you're going to get a much more consistent amount of damage. Meaning if you hit 5 shells of AP and you get 1,300 damage per shell, I mean, you can do the math, right? You're still going to average more than if you were shooting HE alone. Now here, he gets radared by the Constellation. Thank you to the Constellation in the middle of the map. Constellation unable to finish him off. Our secondary is going, and we finish him off with the HE. Now here, I was expecting torpedoes. We managed to get another solo cap in here, so that's 2 solo caps for us, which is always a good thing. We shot down lots of planes. We got 53 targets hit, so we've done our job. We've done a really good job of controlling our side of the map and then setting up crossfires where we need it. And helping to maintain some sort of flank. Because a lot of times what happens is people run away or people just, they end up not holding the flank. You can do a lot of damage, especially in a battleship. You can hold for a long time if you use your damage cons correctly, pay attention to where people are, and try to limit who can shoot you. You can hold a flank for pretty much the entire game against really big odds, like against a lot of ships. Here you're going to see an unfortunate thing. This is another reason I don't use HE very often in battleships, is because I forget that I have HE loaded. Because I'm not used to switching ammo types all that often. But here we have a beautiful look at Akaga. We're going to get around the island, and just as we get around the island, look at this shot that we get on this guy, right? He's going to be angled just a little bit. This is like begging for it for a carrier from a battleship. This is the best RNG you're ever going to get. We look downrange and... wait for it. Yeah, we don't get crap. Five penetrations with HE, and the Venom gets to get the kill. It's unfortunate. Had we actually loaded AP there's a good chance we yoink that man from that Venom. But either way, it was a fun game. I finally got the game for you guys in the Richelieu. Clear Sky, 117,000, 3,300 base XP though. Top of the leaderboard. Let me know what you guys think. Is there another ship that you guys want to see me play? Put it down in the comments below. And don't forget, not only put one of your suggestions down there, but look through other people's suggestions in the comments and like the one that you want to see the most. The person with the most upvotes on their suggestion, I will go ahead and play that ship. Okay? So let me know. I want to know. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.